Live from Harvest Park Bowl in Brentwood, California, it's the PBA50 Northern California Classic Stepladder Finals.
Just a reminder to everyone, if you could put your cell phones, including myself, on silent mode.
Jeff Goodger with Phil Brylow, and Phil will have a special guest coming up to join us in Game 1. But for right now, Stepladder Final, pretty impressive list of players here. Our opening match, Michael Haugen Jr. taking on Amleto Monacelli, who qualified 5th, but he led by almost 300 pins through the first 16 games.
And Monacelli needed a huge position round game to leapfrog 3 other people and get into that top 5. So our defending champion, he's won 2 out of 3 years here, and one of his favorite pairs here, Harvest Park Bowl, 13 and 14. He had a good run on there on Xtra Frame a couple times this week.
And the winner of that match gets Chris Warren in the 3rd spot.
And Chris Warren, boy, I'll tell you what, you shoot 280 here at Harvest Park Bowl, you think you're going to win a match. Not last year for Chris Warren in the second match of the Stepladder Finals, which he finds himself again in this year. Could find himself against Monacelli. That was the highest scoring match in championship history for the PBA50 Tour, 296-280. Warren on the losing end of that match. You know he's looking for redemption.
And waiting in second, the greatest of all time, Walter Ray Williams Jr.
Yeah, one here in 2012, one here again in 2013. Both those years, Player of the Year honors for the PBA50 Tour for Walter Ray Williams Jr. Guess who's close to that top of the points list right now for PBA50 Player of the Year? Walter Ray Williams Jr.
And in the top spot, bowling for the title, Ron Mohr, our newest Hall of Famer.
And Ron Mohr, he hasn't won since last year in Hammond, Indiana, but it's back-to-back years for Ron Mohr making the stepladder here once again, and it should be a pretty good time for Ron Mohr. He's loose, he's ready to bowl, and he wants another championship under the belt, no doubt about that.
And let's get to it. John Weber getting things started, and we will configure some headsets and bring in one of the PBA50's best.
And no doubt one of the PBA50's best. Bob Learn Jr., thanks for taking some time and joining us in the booth this evening, Bob.
Hey, guys. Good to be with you.
And we're going to get this match started off with our defending champion, Amleto Monacelli. And what a big last game for Amleto to just make this top 5, 244.
Yeah, he threw it great. I mean, blower 710 in his 7th after the front 6 that looked just pure as could be. Put him in harm's way, but he found his way out. So he's here right now, looking to take it home once again. Great shot right there.
And he didn't use that ball until late in the round in match play round 2 today. And he's starting off with it here. Is there something about the roll on that particular piece of equipment that he likes?
Yeah, he was talking to me after the last match, and he said that he had to go to something that was a little cleaner to the front. Everything felt like it was hooking earlier for him today. And when he went to that ball, he felt like he had pretty close to the reaction he had all week.
And Haugen Jr., a strike of his own here. Fresh application of this 40-foot Don Johnson pattern. And we all know that Don Johnson back in the day, the consummate shot maker, and you kind of had to be that way this week in order to score on this 40-foot pattern. There wasn't much error to get away with any type of mistake, targeting speed or revolutions.
Yeah, speed was a big one. The ball, once you got the ball projected to the front, if you just wanted to wiggle a little bit, if you got just a little too firm, that made it kind of difficult. Certainly when you felt like you slowed down a little bit, the ball wanted to hook early, so that led to some confusion out there.
And a much tighter line on lane 13 for Michael Haugen Jr., but he gets the double on the board. Did you find a lot of pair-to-pair difference here this week across Harvest Park?
I found a lot of shot-to-shot difference in myself. So,
and unfortunately, that's why you're here instead of in the Stepladders, but a decent week here for you.
You know, I love bowling here. Such a great group of people that have us. There's just a whole bunch of people that work the event every year. Just really look forward to us coming out here, and we love being here.
And that's something we really didn't see a lot of too much this week, 2 8-10s. You'd see some 2-10 combinations, but usually the 8 went away.
You know, they got new surface this year, and it's a great surface to bowl on, but it's funny how he was playing out here. You know, generally you get this particular surface, the ball picks up in the mid lane really good. You get good back end motion, but it just, this 28 mils in this pattern, had a little something to say about that.
And an early open from Monacelli.
I mean, Amleto pretty much owns the center. He's won twice. He just loves it here. And even in practice session, we were talking other bowlers, and I said, well, it looks like Amleto's going to have a pretty good week again. And wow, what a qualifying week he had.
And you just got to be able to shake that off. You know, you just dominated the field, but when you walk in the door today with everybody else, you're at zero. It's going to be a tough thing to take once in a while.
Yeah, it's as much as you say you don't want to think about that, it's really tough when you got to give that many pins away and feel like you got now everybody that you've cremated throughout the week is even with you.
The slow 7-10 falls for Monacelli. And yeah, you mentioned the staff here at Harvest Park Bowl and proprietor Jim Wangeman and his family and all the staff here. They love seeing you guys walk in the door from the day the practice session and Pro-Am start all the way through until these Stepladder finals are done.
Well, I hope we come for many more years.
And big Jim Wangeman, 80 years old, turned on Saturday. It was always good to see Jim here in his corner in the center. And that's a corner pin for Haugen with the ring 10.
Yeah, Jim said, as long as I'm alive, there's going to be a PBA event here. And I said, well, may you live a long, long life.
May you live to be 1,000. And the ring 10, a lot of bowlers that are just getting into the sport, they say, oh, it's just a bad break. But Haugen's probably going to make an adjustment off that ring 10, isn't he?
Yeah, well, you know, it really depends at this point what Amleto has on the right lane.
Okay.
Managing the pocket, you know, sometimes is all you care about. On the fresh, there's a lot of transition early with the oil. It felt like it was pushing down lane. So, you know, keeping the ball in pocket, keeping it in play. Amleto with 2-8-10, what's he going to do on this next shot? He's got more to think about. Haugen's just kind of like a Walter Ray, you know. They live in the pocket, don't want to give away the pocket, and stay out of trouble.
And he's easily 4 boards left in the front part of the lane on that left lane. And the crowd here at Harvest Park Bowl appreciative of the efforts on that strike by Haugen.
That was a good one.
More and more bowlers going to that chamois to clean the bowling ball. We see it a lot of time with urethane bowling balls, but it'll work on a reaction too, won't it?
Yes, it will. Yep, you see a lot of guys, more guys using it out here now than ever. The oils that we have out here, they tend to lane shine the ball pretty quick, and I think they believe they just get some of that off of there. It might keep the surface of it wanting to play with a little longer. Great shot by Amleto. Way to come back after the 2-8-10.
And you mentioned the heavy oil volume, especially in the front part of this Don Johnson pattern. You want to make sure the ball is picking up roll in the proper spot.
Just like that. I tell you what, it may have been the best I've ever seen him bowl this week. I mean, he was just throwing it so pure. Being that he's in 5th, that really says nothing about his chances to win here. I think he gets something started here, it's over.
No, you see stories like that all the time. A bowler gets hot, they get a big position around jump, and all of a sudden they find themselves in the Stepladder and they make a huge run. Nice shot. That ball laid down a little bit. And taking a look at last year here, or earlier this week, Harvest Park Bowl, the only 300 in that round was thrown by Monacelli.
And he had the front 9 the game before, so not too bad. I think he had like 830 and backed it up with a 250 to finish. He was definitely locked in. Can't throw any better than that.
Haugen advantage, single pin. Make it 11 with a big double. He's proof that you don't need the huge revs and the huge ball speed to be competitive on the PBA50 tour.
No, he's been bowling really good the last couple of years out here. You know, you have more players out here, obviously, that have that same style of play, even though we got more and more power players coming out. And, you know, he actually has the lane transition better for him out here than in the regular tour. He's still as good as he ever was doing what he does, so.
It looked left of target, but it sat.
That's why he's in the top 5.
Yeah. Sometimes it's not just all about execution. Sometimes it's being in the right part of the lane with the right ball. Because Parker Bone mentioned earlier as well that, you know, he struggled the first 2 days of qualifying. He had a ball in his bag that was close, and he went out yesterday, drilled a ball that had a little different characteristics, and all of a sudden, he goes, I can throw it the way I wanted to, and it makes a huge difference.
What a bad break.
Vicious blower 7.
That was the problem, hooking it. I mean, obviously Amleto had just a fantastic qualifier, but that's exactly what was happening with a lot of guys. The ball would push a little further if you projected it with just a little extra speed. The ball would not pick up and go through the pins correctly.
5-pin goes a good 6 inches behind the 7-pin. And the head pin way too far in front.
All right, well, not too much room here.
No, he's down by 22 right now.
Well, Walter was throwing something with a little surface play in that same part of the lane as Haugen. I think they've, got a little something going there together, and if Amleto can't find his way out of this, those guys are just going to work off each other. Got that one in. Nice.
Gets that ball to work nicely. But it's going to take a couple of mistakes by his opponent for Monacelli to get back to even in this match. It's got to be a great feeling for somebody like Amleto to just know when he walks in the center, the success he's had in the past. If you had a bowling center like that where you walk in and you go, I'm always going to do really good here no matter what pattern they throw out at me.
Yeah, L.A. when we used to bowl on the regular tour, AC Delco, I was like runner-up 2 years in a row, made another show, finished 6th the next year. It was like every year was just like, walking in, here I come, got a chance.
Just can you hand me the check now, please? And the man that's looking to get a bigger check, our champion from Farmingdale, looking to go back-to-back. And that hasn't been done since Pete Weber had that huge run in 2016 where he won 5 consecutive tournaments, and that run for PDW was ended here by Noel Vasquez.
That's correct. Noel made a decent showing this week. Made the top, I think, top 24.
Top 16, or 24, top 24 he made.
Yep, looking pretty good.
With the ball servers that Haugen is using, it looks pretty polished up a little bit. Is that going to change the lane less for him than, let's say, Amaleto's ball?
Yeah.
With a little more surface?
Absolutely. He's been actually using a lot of shine this year. And last year, he was trying to hook the ball a little bit more. And he said this year he's just going to go back to what he does best. And I think shine allows him to stay square. So, how's that one look?
Ooh.
All right. Still alive.
Oh, he's got to finish the 10th frame on that lane if he still has a chance in the match. But it's pretty much a must strike in the foundation frame to keep the pressure on Haugen Jr. Is that a shot that's going to necessitate a move in the 10th when he gets back there?
Boy, that's a really good question.
I mean, it looked good out of his hand.
To. Yeah, you have to.
Monacelli still down 22, can cut it to 12.
Come on, good shot. Great. Match. We've got a match.
Absolutely flush. Boy, he gets that shot in the second frame back. Even with a spare, it's a different possibility right now. That release hasn't changed much in 30-plus years out here.
Nor the body,
yeah.
Right? Actually, he's skinnier now than he was.
I've heard that him and Parker Bone are both skinnier now than they were when they first came out on tour. Doesn't surprise me. This man trying to stay in the skinny right now. And he's doing it well. And, boy, those last 6 have been no doubters for Michael Haugen Jr.
Yeah, he threw it about as good as I've seen him throw it in Farmingdale. Threw it real well on the show. I know I was a victim of that. But right here he's looking really comfortable.
And
This is it.
Michael looking back, something disturbing him. Off to his left. Get the composure back.
Oh. That ball made its way back pretty good.
Yeah, you looked at that one, and the first thing I'm thinking of, that could be a 210, but I think he just kind of floated it enough, got a little slow at the bottom of the release that it got back.
Like I said, you had Walter out there with the little surface. I think it looked like that might have caught that spot where Walter was trying to play, because I really didn't think that was going to get there.
Spare here and one pin locks it up. There's the spare.
I'm pretty sure he's got the one coming.
He doesn't even need the one count. He's at 248. Extra frame math on occasion.
Well.
So Michael Haugen Jr. is going to advance into our next match. And he'll be taking on Chris Warren. And Warren trying to shake the bug of last year where Monacelli took him out in that second match, 296 to 280. But tell you what, with Michael Haugen Jr. on fire right now, it's going to be a contrast in styles, no doubt about it. Contrast in height, contrast in styles. So Monacelli's going to finish up. Chris Warren will come on and get practice in a pocket 710.
Once again, just pushing down the lane a little bit. I mean, he looked like he threw it great. Doesn't take much out here. It looked like the left had a pretty good look early in the day.
Yeah.
And, I saw Parker going, and surprising that we didn't get one on the show.
Well, I think there were so many of them during the round of 16. I believe we had 6 of the 10 players, or 6 of the 16 players were left-handed, and maybe they just kind of chewed the pattern up and got themselves out of it. But hey, we're going to keep chewing this Don Johnson parent apart, and Chris Warren's a man that can do that, no doubt, with his rev rate. He's going to get some practice. We'll be back with that next match shortly. And the announcements from John Weber have us underway. I'm Phil Brylow, with me, Bob Learn Jr. Opening match, Michael Haugen shoots a big game to take out our defending champion. And we got to watch Chris Warren practice there. And something tells me, Bob, that 250 might not be enough to win this game the way these two throw the ball.
He had a fantastic looking practice. Third 4.
So in the 10th frame, he leaves the floater 10, and then he makes a little tighter shot, and now he trips the 410. That's got to get his attention right away.
Yeah, and he knows he's got a little bit of hold left on that lane, right? So he's got what he needs. I kind of figured out now why I'm not on the show. This guy is, what, a 26-inch waist? Amleto 28. I mean, come on. He had the skinny shot out.
I was going to say, I'd have no chance. Chris Warren took a regional down in.
Away.
Do you think he did that in Modesto when he won that regional right before this tournament started? That is one thing about Chris out here on the PBA50 tour. He does hang a little bit loose. But when you got that feeling, I remember the first time I saw that was years ago. Art Trask did that. I believe it was in L.A. actually back in the 70s. He threw a shot, he turned around, he walked away on it. It didn't help him later on in the match. He's watching that one, though.
Yeah, he knew a 10-pin was imminent. And that's also a horrible feeling when you know you let go of it and you're going, I know it looks good, but I know it's not going to strike.
Is it just a little lack of rotation there for Chris, or what exactly happened on that one for him possibly?
This lane, I think, is a little tighter, right?
Okay.
And that ball just pushed. He knew it pushed right a little bit too much, but all week here, if you did that again.
Keeps the cover, keeps clean. And there's Chris Warren earlier this week. That wasn't for 300, but that was for 279, but he was definitely feeling it during the second day of qualifying here, where he made the big move up into the top 8. And now finds himself in the 3rd position getting in the stepladder.
Another great shot by Michael.
Every one of the shots on the right lane has just been an absolute no-doubter for Haugen Jr.
Yeah, you can't get to go through the pins any better than right there. That is perfect.
Yeah, in the issue, you know, he's using a different ball in each lane. He's got everything going for him right now.
Got it in a little bit, like we said. Snaps the 10 out.
Great shot there by Haugen.
Oh, a little banter back and forth there.
Oh, they're both West Coasters for quite a while now, so they've crossed paths in many a West and Northwest regional battle. The man affectionately known as Squeak.
Almost an Amleto leave there.
Almost the blower 7. Headpin came back out without a doubt to take the 10 down, and the 4 or the 5 spinning around at last minute to take the 7.
You notice he stuck around for that shot, too. He wasn't walking away.
Yeah, that was definitely the border so right at target early, and of course that's magnified once the ball gets to the break point.
Now you look at, you know, the volume being 28 mils, which was quite high, and you look at this being a 40-foot pattern. Look how far down the ball actually goes before it changes direction. I mean, it's pushing down the lane much further than 40.
Is that part? I mean, we know on lane 13 it's partially the topography, but what about lane 14? Could it be just playing a little downhill too, where it just seems to speed up away from the bowler?
I tell you what, topography is a real thing here. Pair to pair was definitely dicey because you had lanes that you just couldn't get the ball to go uphill, right?
Yeah, I mean, we were watching bowlers on lane 15 a lot this week, where you just go, you're watching guys playing, you know, 5 and 3, 6 and 4 left of the other pair, lane on the pair.
He got that one right, and the ball still picked up, so left with a 10 pin. We just had to say he threw in every ball perfectly on that lane. See what happened? See what you did to him?
It's my job in the booth. We always black cloud, but yeah, a little right at target and a little tough to hit the float all the way back. Floats into the 10 pin for the spare. That keeps him with an 11 pin lead currently, but Chris Warren working on a double. I've never asked Michael Haugen Jr. about why the bullet hole in the bowling pin on his jersey. I mean, I could see like a crack in it from, you know, hitting the pins right. That's a bullet hole. Maybe he's a gun enthusiast. I've never asked.
He's a thug in his time off lanes.
Well, someone in the crowd liked it before he did. You heard the big yeah coming out of a fan. But Haugen with another strike on the board.
And likes it.
Well, I had this feeling at the beginning of the match, 250 may not be enough, and right now it's paced out to be 280, 279, and that's a scary score for Chris Warren.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be out there right now, knowing I got to catch every hit and just enough to get that 10 out.
Well, the good news for Chris Warren this year, pacing 280, is that he's ahead of the game. Last year, he was down by 20 at this point and never had the chance to catch up. Watch that slide in the foul. That loose hand, I mean, that you see such a necessity to have a quality game nowadays on these tough conditions.
Yeah, and you know, we're talking about a guy in his 50s who's been getting on it for his whole life and probably pound for pound as much as anybody, right? But still has no problems doing it because he's just so loose and how he creates it.
He kind of fell forward, you know, a little extra spine tilt forward on that shot. Is that just the timing?
Yeah, that looked like something was definitely off. He pulled down on that one. Everything was off. That kind of looked like some of my shots this week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you see the pull through and the fall right, that's
yeah, it's not a good sign.
And this is not exactly the easiest spare this week.
You know, he's so loose. I would say on an average, when I'm around him in a tournament, I see him at least a couple times. He'll lose a ball on his downswing. I mean, if you guys have ever seen him in competition, but he's that loose, and maybe he felt like he was losing it there and kind of grabbed at it.
All right, here, a strike. Put Haugen Jr. into the lead by 12. He's already got 2-pin lead. And it was almost the exact same ball, exact same spot as last time on that lane.
Got one good idea. Don't throw it there again.
Can he get away with moving the feet right to tighten it up on this Don Johnson pattern, or was that a tough move this week?
I mean, he's going right up 7 on that shot, and some of his great shots were up 9, right? So he's just pushing a little bit right. I don't think you want to make a move, just want to make better shots, keep it on line. He certainly knows how to do that.
Keeps it covered, keeps the lead by 2 pins. And he's one of the guys, the few guys out here that's the independent. He's not on a ball company staff, and he's liked it that way for many years of his career.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if you look at a lot of great careers, you know, having that option to throw anything, of course, at times can be an advantage, but getting to know the equipment well is a challenge when you go from company to company.
And the headpin comes across way too far ahead to knock the 10. You see that ball right there. He's a little extra swing on that one. That ball looked like it was about 9 at the arrows and about 5 down lane.
And you can see how much longer it took for that ball to actually pick up. I mean, you saw the rev rate. You know how this ball kind of floats and then it kind of picks up? That one definitely went further before it even started.
The shell that he's using, we mentioned earlier, it's polished. Would that cause more carry down for a player than, let's say, something like Amleto had or something like Chris has? It's got a little more lane shine to it, a little more scuff.
Well, if it has more surface, it'll flare more because of the surface. You know, if in fact it's a ball that does flare, right?
Okay.
And that ball does. But yeah, I mean, I'd tighten a bit more, yes.
And a 1-pin deficit now for Chris Warren, but he has a chance to get the lead with that strike in the 7th. If he can capitalize on it in the 8th. A little blow in the thumb hole, likes that little bit of moisture in there.
Oh, he wasn't kissing it? Better shot.
Wiggled the 10. The 6 makes contact right in a great spot. And like Warren's going to have to refocus and convert far from out of the match. And there's a spare, and let's go to John Jenson out on the lanes with Amleto Monacelli.
The second frame on 14, that ball got a little bit wide, ended up leaving the 2-8-10. 4 frames later, got in a good shot, and then all of a sudden a slick spot on the way down, and you're able to trying to recover from that.
Well, the 2-8-10 just a little hard. It wasn't a bad shot. Actually, I wanted to try another shot, practice shot, before I started there, but didn't have the time. It wasn't that bad, just skid a little bit.
Great run. You led the tournament by over 200 pins in qualifying. Now to make the run to Vegas.
Yes, that's all you can do. You know, just unfortunately, at least I make the show. You know, I didn't really read the lanes right in the 4th, 5th, and 5th game, and then I made a big change to the ultra heat and played a lot straighter and harder, and I had a great shot.
Great run, my friend, and we'll see you in Vegas.
Thank you.
Amleto Monacelli. Gentlemen, back to you.
Thanks, John. That may make the plane flight a little long for Mr. Monacelli after getting bumped out in 5th place.
Yeah, and he's flying with me, so.
Hopefully not adjoining seats in that case.
Actually, we got a couple extra days. I'm taking him to Napa tomorrow, so
Oh, well, enjoy that trip.
he'll be all better.
And right now, a man that's enjoying a trip to the pocket, 2 consecutive frames. Michael Haugen Jr. taking control of this match, 11-pin lead. And now mandatory strike mode for Chris Warren. Chris can still shoot 237.
Great shot.
And this is where you see it a lot on the PBA Tour. These guys know they're down getting in the 9th and 10th frames, and you see guys punch 4 and put it right back on the opposition. And Chris Warren's done that so many times in his career. He's going to need to do it once again here.
Think he'll walk away? Or do you think he'll stay there? I think he'll stay there.
I think he'll watch that one all the way through. He's got to throw another one on that lane right after.
Yeah, got that in a little bit. Well, looks like this is a real matchup coming up with similar angles. It's going to be interesting with Walter Ray coming in, obviously,
And,
going for his 108th title.
I believe so, and he's looking for a little revenge from Farmingdale as well. So Warren for the spare, maximum 217. Count here important because he could force Michael Haugen Jr. to mark with good count. Because right now a 9 out for Haugen Jr. would be 216.
Then the loose one. Yeah.
you,
This wasn't going to happen.
you can't. Sometimes you get guys that go into bowling center and say, "Oh, that rack's off a little." You can't blame a shot like that on 2 different lanes on the rack.
No.
Haugen Jr. going to take one of his rear racks here, I believe. Nope, he's going to get up and fire. He was just waiting for the other lane to be reset.
Well, we still need a mark here. So he's still keeping him honest.
Yeah, 9 outs, a tie. 8 or less, he'll need to fill it.
Got it in right where he needs to be. And good.
Best
Great
mark
shot.
of all. So Michael Haugen Jr. advancing through another match.
Now it gets interesting because Walter will be right on top of where he's playing, and there will be some transition during the match. You're going to start seeing where shots that are flushing now. I think I think Walter will have a lot more surface. So we'll have to see how that works.
And of course, Haugen Jr. has to sit to the wayside as both Ron Mohr and Walter Williams Jr. get some practice, so that can make life interesting for him coming back on after, well, basically 7 practice shots in each lane. That can change that surface and that pattern a ton.
It's amazing how much he can move.
So Michael Haugen Jr. at the 240s with a victory. Some more practice coming up for Walter Williams Jr. and Ron Mohr, and we will have Michael Haugen Jr. and Walter Williams Jr. semifinal match shortly here from PBA50 Northern California Classic, presented by Motor from Harvest Park Bowl in Brentwood. And watching Walter Ray in practice, Bob, tried a few different things there, and he had one that looked really good, and the balls before and after that weren't exactly the greatest in the world for him.
Yeah, he had 2 really strong balls out there. The one in between was a little weaker, and that obviously measured up much better. But interesting to see what it does.
And now
to the ball
instantly,
reaction.
Haugen Jr. switches to the ball he was using on the right lane, now using it on the left lane. So he probably figured ahead of time what Walter Ray was doing to change
Yeah, he was
the
watching.
lane.
Absolutely.
And this is the ball that looked really good in Walter's hand for those couple of shots.
And a great shot to start. Game on.
And he's a man that likes this building as well. He's won championships here back-to-back years in 2012 and 2013. And, oh, by the way, PBA50 Player of the Year both those years as well.
Yeah, he's okay.
Yeah. The only PBA record he doesn't really have right now is the 300 game record, and that's because Parker Bone has gotten by about 8 perfect games right now. And we saw Walter Ray really playing about 7 or 8 boards left in practice on that lane 13, and a little too much on that shot. And he's the only player that really has that ball rolling up right near the end of that 40-foot pattern with this Don Johnson pattern out here.
Yeah, historically, he's the guy, even though he's not known for, high rev rate, his trick is that he gets stronger balls that slow down quicker, and rev rate goes up for him. Not only does make the ball hit better for him, but for him it helps him control the pocket.
And a lot of people that are new to the sport, they hear a 40-foot oil pattern, they don't expect the bowling ball can hook before them, but depending on the surface on the bowling ball and the core of the bowling ball, it's possible for that bowling ball to start to hook in the oil, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely, especially after shots are thrown. I mean, they've had a time to be able to work that out. Definitely created a little trench, if you will. But, I mean, that's what makes Walter great, is that he gets the ball started early, gets it to read, keeps it on line.
And now the ball that Haugen Jr. had in the left lane is now in his hand for the right lane. That's some confidence in your equipment. Ooh, that one snapped high.
Yeah, might want to go back to the other ball. That ball really jumped.
Was that something? Well, we saw this a couple of weaker 10 pins for Haugen at the end of that previous game.
That wasn't a bad shot. If you look, he looked like he went right up 9 where he wanted to be, but again, Walter had a lot of surface out there, stepping on top of each other.
Keep it even after 2. Ooh. Steer that one all the way down. That 10 pin didn't get much contact, but enough to take it down.
And now he's thinking, what am I going to do? I say he stays with the ball he has in the left lane.
And let's go to John Jenson out with an interview.
With Chris Warren, heck of a run in this tournament, qualified second, 6 frame. Looked like the shot may have gotten a little bit inside on a 3-6-10.
That was way bad. The ones before that weren't that good. The 2 ring 10s, I mean, got my tilt up. Location was okay. Tilt was wrong. Happens.
Let's keep grinding. We'll see you in Vegas.
Got it. We'll see you
betcha.
there.
You
Thanks.
betcha. Gentlemen, back to you.
Thanks, JJ.
While we're away, Haugen got inside a little bit on that one. Now his feet are a little bit farther left than they were, and now he's in that 10-pin territory. This is where the shine gets you in trouble, or can get you in trouble.
And
going back for another ball.
it's
juggling.
It's not just the key of knowing the ball reaction, but what surface you have in that particular piece of equipment if you're going to make that step up or step down.
And he knows if he has to move in, he's going to have to step it up a little bit, get that ball started. Great shot by Walter Ray.
And you watch that ball react down lane and just set up and just ease in. There's not a lot of snap on that bowling ball for Walter Ray.
How many times has he done exactly that on TV? Count that. That's a pretty big number. Great shot.
Walter Ray lead at a single pin, looking to get it to 11. 4th frame.
Oh, clears the 7-10.
And if that 10 was trying to stand, that head pin was going to come back.
Like we said, topography definitely showing its face there.
Haugen Jr. looking to bounce back, make the adjustment off the 6-10.
New ball. Can he get the 10 out on the left lane? Key shot. Oh, he's going to stay with the ball. Staying with the same ball.
Looked like he had a little shift to the left.
Staying with the shiny ball. Looks like the same shot as before. Yeah, I would have definitely gone when he went to that right lane, changed balls. I would have definitely stayed with the ball he had on the right lane and moved to the left with it. That is definitely not a good time for that. A little backup ball here.
Seen him do it on occasion. Nope, he fired hard and fast.
Look for the bounce. No luck. Leaves him with 87 in the fifth. Walter strikes spare and double up. So Walter can do some real damage here in the next couple of shots.
And it's always not just the fight with the opponent, but the fight with the lane. That's
Walter,
getting
great shot. He's feeling it.
and tattooed, and tattooed all three shots on that right lane for Walter Ray.
So the mysterious left lane.
Get the lead out to 33 with another strike.
Great snaps at 10 out. Huge shot.
And that's just having enough ball speed to get that 6 to still do some work on a half pocket hit.
And it has a little to do with voodoo. He's got that voodoo roll. Him and Ron Mohr, who's up next. They find ways to kick that 10 out. Yeah, that ball rolls much earlier, much better. I'll be surprised if he doesn't try to throw that on the left lane right here.
Well, he still can get to 237. But Walter Ray right now, if he spares off the sheet, he's in the 230s.
Well, he did switch balls. Success.
It still looks like it's just loping down the lane on that left lane. Definitely tighten up the line. But it really
Great
picked,
shot.
I guess it's taking a look at it a second time in slow motion, I guess the roll picks up right before the pocket.
Walter Ray. This right lane did hook a little early for him in practice. He's got it figured out now.
And
Can't throw any better.
Yeah, 4 for 4 on that right lane. And, you know, assuming he goes on to win this game, if you're Ron Mohr, usually the thing is, well, make your opponent finish after you. That might not be a good thing for Ron right now.
You never want to have to bowl Walter Ray.
Yeah. You never want to have him finish after you.
There's other guys I'd rather bowl.
Is he changing his role a little bit in the left lane, or did he just come out of that one a little funny?
Yeah, I think he got around that one a little bit. Definitely didn't read as early.
Yeah, washing it out of his hand, and he's happy with it. He goes, yeah, I guess he wanted to just wheel a little harder. Haugen Jr. to stay alive.
Great shot. Still a match.
It's just amazing when you only have 10 frames in a game. 2 bad shots against the Hall of Famer can take you right out. And that's what it's been for Michael Haugen Jr.
And you can see, I mean, just how touchy these conditions have been this week at times. This left lane is just, it's really reacting and responding funny.
And I got the story on the shirt I'll tell you about after the shot.
We got that one in. Success.
But it sits in. But it might be too little too late. But the reason why it has the hole in the shirt is because he hits the pins so hard, he wants them to bleed. So you got to think Michael's wife PD for giving me that bit of information. She's back home cheering her husband, watching on Xtra Frame. Walter Ray pretty much lockjaws here.
There
And
it is. That hooked early. Yep. All right, just got to fill frames at this point.
oh, that really picked up. That
Yeah,
picked up almost a full foot earlier than the shot before.
He threw a couple balls with a really, really aggressive ball in practice. And again, it doesn't take much. And covers it. Now,
Yeah, the spare is a winner for Walter Ray.
and the only thing I see stopping that from happening is a 710 because that lane just has that spot on it.
Looks like he made a little bump with the feet.
Oh, roped it. Good shot. Never a doubt. And that's what he does so good time and time again.
Yeah. And he's one thing that, he's always so good at doing is just adjusting the speed. Slow it down a half mile an hour, speed it up a half mile an hour.
Masterful.
And here comes the experiment. Is this the real aggressive ball, Bob? He's got a head. It's
I can't
green.
see it. Green. Oh, yeah, that's aggressive.
Oh, yeah, he's way left from where he just was. A lot of loft, too.
Interesting.
So let's mess with Ron Mohr a little bit. Is that what that is?
You know what? I wouldn't put it past him. We bowled it in Farmingdale, and he was out there practicing with a black diamond. And that didn't do me any good, I'll tell you that.
Well, it is every bowler for themselves out here on the PBA50 Tour, and it's going to be one heck of a championship match. A couple of bowlers looking for their first title of the year. Walter Ray already been in 2 championship matches. Started the season in Newport Richie. Warren Eels took him out there, and Michael Haugen Jr. took out Walter Ray in Farmingdale. So
Looking for a little redemption.
looking to get the first title of the year under the belt, and with this win, Walter Ray Williams Jr. should have enough points to take the lead on the Player of the Year points list as well. They were pretty close in the standings at 1-2. Haugen Jr. just having a few extra points. Let's see, game scores that have won tonight in the 250s, 240s, and 250s. Wonder what that championship match is going to take. We'll find out. Ron Mohr getting practice, and we'll be back with that championship match for the PBA50 Northern California Classic presented by Motiv. That's a little unusual, Bob. Bowler usually gets 6 shots when they come on before a match, and Ron takes about 4 and says, I'm done. Is that a confidence move against Walter Ray, or is he actually that locked in?
Well, I think it's a confidence move. Absolutely.
And Walter Ray switches to that ball we saw in the 10th frame and gets the 10 to roll 8.
Finds his way to a strike to start this match. Back in the 80s, I remember one of the shows I made, I bowled with Mike Albee on the show. And Mike threw 1 shot on the left lane in warm-up. We had an hour to practice back then.
Okay.
Threw about 10 shots in the right lane and went and sat down. Came out, won the tournament, shot 250. And I'm like, I got to try that sometime. I usually just stay out there and just keep bowling, striking like crazy and changing the lanes.
Ron Mohr's last win last year in Hammond,
one right.
Indiana. Almost got the 6 to snap the 10.
Amazing that ball got back. I thought that was in the weeds.
How close to that gray board is it?
That got pretty far right.
Yeah.
Thanks to a little Michael Haugen earlier out there creating a little slot.
Oh, and that ball turned and just instantly rolled out, it looked like, as well.
Oh, hold on. Oh. That is that's rare.
And that's nothing but a pure mental mistake.
We'll see how he recovers.
Now watch that slide into the foul line. And whenever you see a bowler's foot turn one direction or the other, you know that timing's been off. And that's 11 pins you can't afford to give anyone, and then you're giving it to Walter Ray Williams Jr.
Got that one in. Hold on. Yeah, get those good. Maybe should have taken a few more shots.
Well, the roll doesn't look really strong once it makes the move. It's.
No, he missed that one.
Did he? Okay.
See if he gets it back here. Looks a little better. All right. Well, if you're going to do what you did, do it in the first 2 frames. Still got a potential 269. And so far tonight, that's been good enough.
And Walter Ray, even though he was 5 for 5 with that gray ball on lane 14 last match, he switches to that more aggressive piece for lane 14.
And slashes him out of there.
Walter Ray, 12 PBA 50 titles to this point, looking for number 13. They'll get him out of a tie for second. John Handegaard, all-time leader at 14. He's tied right now currently with Gary Dickinson, Dale Eagle, and Tom Baker.
I've heard of those guys. Good shot there. 10 in the pit.
Getting the jet, and that's rare to see that little bit of the smirk smile out of Walter Ray on a 3-bagger. Like I almost got away with that one. But he was dead flush.
I made a ball change that worked. Good thing.
And now my opponent has to play a big amount of catch-up. And the frames are running out quicker and quicker with every shot.
Better shot. And great result.
You just see the difference in the roll in those last 5 or 6 feet to the pocket. It just continued instead of how it did on those 10 pins.
That was as good as you can throw it. Me and Ron have bowled twice, senior Team USA together, and you know, he just plays well all the time.
Yeah, you haven't had exactly weak lineups till the last 2 World Senior Championships. It's yourself, Ron Mohr, Johnny Petraglia was part of it one year, Lenny Borsch, Parker Bone. Yeah, that's some good lineups to bring some hardware home with, and especially the honor of being able to represent your country.
Yeah, it's an amazing opportunity. And another great shot. Totally different than those first 2. Nice rebound.
And just stronger releases, huh?
Yeah, he rolled those beautifully off his hand.
Beautiful split of the 8 and 9. Problem is, you're down 31.
Guy. Yeah, the problem is you got this guy with the front 3 on you. That wasn't too bad either. He's feeling it.
One of the most amazing things with Walter Ray I saw was back in 2015 when they had the qualifying for the Players' Championship in the Roth-Holman doubles in Milwaukee at Bolero. And he shot 300 with a target zone.
You know,
at the age of 54. I mean, that was incredible.
What guys would be good that are good now would be good back in the day? And this is Walter. Walter would have been great in any era.
Yep. No doubt.
He could win with plastic.
He looked a little thumb down on the release on that shot. Like, tried to help it.
Paid full price. Pins do bounce out here, so.
I saw Warren Nelson today make a 210 by hitting the 2 square, and all of a sudden had no reason to bounce out of the pit and take out the 10, and it did.
Well, that's not how you shoot him.
Well, he is the only man to make one of these on national television. And he's got the black diamond.
Yep, no luck. All right, well. Make things a little.
It does make life interesting now if Ron Mohr can throw a couple more strikes on there, because that could give Mohr the lead. Mohr the possible 269. Walter Ray's maximum now is 262. It's just amazing how quick leads can change in 2 frames out here on the PBA 50 tour. Until you mathematically have a match locked up, that other guy is going to keep charging at you no matter what. Especially this guy. He's a bulldog.
That's a good shot. Great shot.
He was hollering, read it, read it. So
And
he
I
was.
didn't have any problem reading. That was beautiful. Stayed with it, rolled, like you said, nice heavy roll. Bam.
This next shot.
Little diaphragmatic breathing there. Setting for the next shot.
And let's go to John Jenson, lane side.
Michael Haugen Jr., you were on that pair 3 games, and then in the middle of the game at 2-8-10. What was a transition occurring at that point?
Yeah, a little bit of transition, and I missed a move. You can kind of see I was juggling the balls again a little bit, just kind of chasing it in, and I kind of saw it, and I didn't make the move, and then I got quick with the shot, and it just pushed. And of course, that told me that I was indeed right. I needed to make the change, but unfortunately, it was a little too late against the best player in the game, of all time. So he got me this time. I got him last week in New York. Hopefully, we'll have many more battles.
Look forward to seeing you in Vegas, man. Great run so far.
Thank you, sir.
Gentlemen, back to you.
Thanks, JJ. Appreciate that. And wow, from a great shot to an almost bad break to catching the late fall on the 8. 2-pin comes back off the 4 and slow rolls the 8 out. And Ron Mohr, after being 30 pins in arrears a couple of frames ago, finds himself in the lead.
And Walter with a solid 10-pin.
I don't think a 6 can go around any closer to the 10 without knocking it down like it did for Walter right there. No part of that 6-pin was more than an inch away from that 10 at any point in time until it was passed.
Well, I'll tell you what, when we were in Farmingdale, that was unbelievable how many people were just stuck with 10-pin after 10-pin after 10-pin. And it wasn't because the ball was deflected through the pins. There was definitely something going on in that place. You think you just had a perfect shot. Ball's going through the pins correctly, and you're still ringing 10 pins.
There were a few of the locals that were sitting there watching going, yeah, we see it all the time. They know exactly how you guys felt out there. Walter Ray still a possible. 252.
Little transition in his own. That looked like a good shot off his hand.
Get a ball that is that aggressively covered cause that much extra hook in one shot?
Absolutely.
Wow.
Sponges.
To the black diamond for the spare.
Now Walter's got to think about what's going to go on here, because the ball obviously burned up on the right lane for a ring 10, and then the ball checked a little early on the left lane. I mean, if anybody can figure out a little tweak to it and stay with it, it's Walter. But if Mohr keeps striking, it's going to be a little too late.
Well, it seems like Ron Mohr's ball path is crossing Walter Ray's twice. Once on the way out and then once on the way back to the pocket. And
that
I'm
tends
sure
to
that's
happen.
got to mess with Walter Ray a little bit. To extend the lead.
Looks like a good shot. Snaps the 10. That's that voodoo roll I was talking about.
$18-pin lead that could build for Ron Mohr Jr.
Now the left lane hooking more. Does Ron move left here, or does he stay there because he did flush? And does he end up with the same result that Walter Ray did a couple shots ago? He has to finish on the left lane.
Yeah, that's got to weigh on his mind a bit. Big 4 and then a 4-pin for Walter Ray, even though Ron Mohr's gone strike the last 2 times on lane 13. for the half dozen and a 28-pin lead.
Snaps the 10 again. Let's see where that ball went through the pins. Shot before the ball ended up pretty much running over the 9-pin, and there it goes again. For most people, that's not a strike.
No, that's a weak 10, and he's getting that 6 to do the job still. That's amazing. He's got some trade secret he knows he's not sharing with the rest of the world. It's a conspiracy.
I'm telling you, it's black magic. Walter, great shot. See, same thing. Ball's burning up. Got to get that ball out of his hand if he wants to have a chance.
Yeah, spare here. Max scored 2-3-0. Still gives him a chance because Ron Mohr could finish in the 230s with a couple of spares. But the foundation frame for both players is going to be key if the 10th frame is going to matter. It's going to require a strike by Walter Ray and a non-strike by Ron Mohr.
Well, he's going to stay with it. So this is one where I see him moving in and trying to get around a little bit more, trying to get the ball to go through the pins better.
A little more loft as well.
Yeah, didn't get around it.
And Walter Ray could be 0 for 3 in championship matches so far in 2015. And lead the Player of the Year points.
I resemble that. I've done that.
Well, back into, I believe it was 1987, Marshall Holman won Player of the Year on the PBA Tour without winning a title. That's not a record that he's, exactly the proudest of. You'd rather have 3 or 4 titles when he wins Player of the Year.
Yeah,
But,
the only person ever to get that,
yeah,
right?
the only person to ever do that right now, Walter Ray Williams Jr. is sitting in that same boat. Of course, still a few events remaining on the season. Of course, he's defending champion of our next event at the USBC Senior Masters. So Walter Ray will automatically be in that 64-player double elimination bracket once qualifying is complete.
Well, let me tell you, he's automatically in the top 64 anyway, so.
Ron Mohr, this one here in the 9th, practically locks up the championship.
Yeah, looks good.
Hop, skip, jump, fall short.
Now.
Get rid of the demons of the first frame out of your head.
Yep, exactly. Got that one in. Ball definitely pushed farther, but safe play as well. He's like, oh man, I usually carry that.
The big exhale on the approach.
Got it.
There it is. Walter Ray Williams Jr., the maximum score at 219. Just good count, stay behind the foul line for Ron Mohr. It's just so unusual he shoots a 10-pin because his thumb ends up facing him and his fingers are going towards the pins. And this is going to make title number 9 in the Hall of Fame career of Ron Mohr. Actually, it's going to be 10. This gets him in the double digits.
Yeah, I gave him
he
number
had
9 last year. Yeah.
In Hammond.
Whoops. Playing safe. No. Safe. Anyways, that I thought he was just throwing it hard and straight down the middle for count. Could have been Greek church real quick.
More than enough, though, and into double digits for Ron Mohr with his 10th career PBA 50 title.
Who needs to make 10-pin? Who needs that? Yeah, Walter just stuck with that ball too long. And, it is hard in the middle of a title match.
And the one to show off a little bit. And the title's in hand.
Now the sign of disbelief once again. Look, there it is. Disbelief. I won again. Walter Ray two-handed it. Should have done that the whole time, he says. And Walter's been practicing this quite a bit lately. A little more practice yet.
Third, second place finish of the year for Walter Ray Williams Jr.
You worked really hard to get into the top 8 in qualifying, and you were able to get yourself in a really good position, got 2 rounds of rest, and then you just put the pedal to the metal in match play round number 2 to get you into the top seed. What was going through your mind last night after that second round of qualifying?
Well, it was huge to double in the 10th to get the 8th seed. I mean, it saved me 5 games of match play to get past Walter. And the way it worked out with my match play opponents this time to be the number 8 seed was just perfect. So I have a chance to. I kind of have a routine that if I get to bowl after noon, then I can do a workout in the morning. So not to toot my own horn, but I did do 800 sit-ups before we came here today. Did my 150 push-ups, so I would be ready to play when we got here. So that's kind of what I was thinking.
This gentleman is an absolute Iron Man, and this is before he hits breakfast. Outstanding work. Looking forward to seeing you next week. And everybody, next week as we get ready for 3 big tournaments coming up, the USBC Senior Masters at Samstown, following with the USBC, the Super Senior Classic next week for the 60-plus, for the Senior U.S. Open following at Sun Coast the following week in 2 weeks. Great work, my friend. We'll see you there.
I appreciate that, and hopefully I'll continue to throw the ball well and be competitive in the next few weeks. So thank you to everybody, and Walter, a great tournament again. A great friend, a great champion, and a great competitor. I enjoy bowling with you and bowling against you all the time. So thank you, everyone. I really appreciate it.